Long time no see. It's been almost a year, I think, since I last posted a video. And part of that reason, especially in the last few months, is because I've tried to film videos and then transferring the video from my phone to my computer, like I've always done, has suddenly become like an issue. So I played around with it today and I realized for whatever reason, I did an update with my phone and that changed everything. So now I have to like film no longer than 5 minutes at a time and transfer over. It's annoying, but that's just how I have to do it. I'm also currently house sitting, which is why I'm like trying to not, because I don't want to be filming someone else's house. But I've just been like feeling so strongly like I want to make a video. Because I miss doing it and I like having it for myself to look back on, and it's important to me, and I've really missed doing that this year. Like when the inspiration is there, you just have to go with the flow and do whatever it is. The last time I made a video, I had been really sick post-COVID and it was awful, and it took like 6 to 8 weeks to fully recover from getting COVID. And all of last year was pretty much just working a job that I genuinely enjoyed the work aspect of it, but the pay was just so low that it was really stressful and at times dehumanizing, because I was like, why am I putting so much work and effort into this without getting anything back in return? And I was talking to my friend Sophia about it, and she made a really good point. It's like, this job is probably just preparing you for something in your future. It's like you're developing skills now for something much better in the future that you're really gonna need. So I try to just like continuously remind myself of that. And then somewhere along the way, during the summer, I was on Reddit. I do like to frequent Reddit from time to time, and I am part of my city's like subreddit, and I'll regularly read up on things. Usually in the summertime, it's about how hot it is, and so it gets kind of annoying. But someone had posted like, hey, does anyone have any ideas on jobs that pay pretty well, but for people who don't have a degree and who need to work from home? And I was like, that's me exactly. Like, I don't have a degree and I need to work from home most of the time. So I made sure to like follow that like post. I read every comment. I was like, if anyone's like giving out suggestions, I'm all ears. And through that post, I found a comment that was like, hey, I work for this company and they're usually hiring pretty regularly, and it's mostly work from home. You don't need a degree, and the pay is pretty good. And so I immediately like jumped on that and like went to that company's website and looked it up, and sure enough, they were hiring. I didn't really know what position it was that I was applying for, which is hilarious, but I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna jump and I'm gonna fill out an application. So long story short, I got the job. But it was the kind of thing where I got the job, but then the actual training for the job didn't start until October. So I applied in summertime. I don't remember exactly. I feel like it was July or something. And then I had to wait, maybe August. Maybe it wasn't really that long. But then I had to wait all of August, all of September, and then the first 2 weeks of October before I like started this new job. Now, the thing with this job is that it is a hybrid position, so it's majority work from home, but I do have to go into the office from time to time, especially that first week of training. We had to be in office every day. So I was like, Lizzie, this is gonna be a challenge for you. This is gonna be a challenge for you with your health stuff, with your anxiety, but you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. We can do hard things, right? We can do hard things. And so I decided that the job I had been working, I was going to cut back a little bit on what I was doing, and then I was gonna officially like quit completely and have the entire month of September not working at all, because at that point in time, I just felt so burnt out and so at my end that I'm like, I need time to like rest and relax before jumping into something that I know is going to be challenging, jumping into a brand new thing that is going to require a lot. And it really was the best decision for me. So I took all of September off. I was really intentional with my time. I took time every day, especially the first like week or so of like just laying down. Like throughout the day, if I wanted to just lay down, I let myself, because I'm the type of person that, because I've been chronically ill for so long and there were periods of time where I was completely bedridden, I have this kind of like warped, and I actually feel like a lot of people, even like people who aren't chronically ill, can relate to this, where they feel guilty for taking time to just lay down. And I'm not really a napper. I cannot sleep during the day, no matter how tired I am. I just can't do it. But I can lay down. And so, I went through a period of time of just, if I wanted to lay down, I let myself. Everything was going really well. I was feeling like, okay, I'm getting good rest. And then like a couple weeks out, because I took all of September off and then the job didn't start until like the third week of October. So really I had about 6 weeks to just not work, which was awesome. And it's such a privilege and a blessing to like be able to do that, because I still live with my parents. This lighting is driving me crazy, and it's like now granted I have gained weight, but like it's really giving me a lot. So, and I don't think I mentioned this, but like throughout last year, like leading up to the summertime, I was slowly getting better with my dizziness. So if you remember, like 2 years ago, I had an increase of dizziness that just lasted and wouldn't go away, and I had to stop working at my retail job, and that's when I started working from home with this other job. And that whole year was just really, really hard, because I was back to having this really intense, constant dizziness, right? So this year that I've kind of come back down from that trigger, whatever it was that triggered that. So I've like been coming back to like what I consider my normal baseline. I am still dizzy every single day, and I do have days that are worse than others, but I really truly have been getting better, back to where I was a couple of years ago, which is awesome, which is why I even felt at all like I could possibly try this new job thing. What was I going to say about that? I also, and again, this is a privilege, but like I chose this year that I was not putting in energy into going to doctor's appointments. And I was like, I'm just gonna see what happens, because I tried so hard the year before at going to doctor's appointments and advocating for myself and trying to follow through with everything. And like, nothing happened until I went and saw my naturopath and I got back on my normal supplements. So this year I was like, I'm not going to do the doctor appointment thing anymore. I'm just going to spend money on my supplements. It's so expensive, and I'm kind of back into a place where I'm like, I've racked up enough debt that I'm not refilling supplements as much as I probably should, but I am still like not letting myself go too long before I like get back on my regimen. Kind of like stretch it out as much as I can, which is really unfortunate that like I know what helps, but I just can't afford it. Anyway, so I got this new job, and the training is really intense. It's from like the second or third week of October until the end of January. It's very thorough. It's very involved. The first 3 weeks of that is learning and preparing to take a licensing exam. And if you didn't pass the licensing exam, then you don't have a job. So it's like really important, because you have to have a license to do the job. The training is a group training, so I've got like a group of people along with me throughout this, and I've got like 3 trainers who are with us every day. And right now my schedule is a classic Monday through Friday. I have the weekends off, which is nice. And we do go into office about once a week, aside from that first week where we were in office every day. And that was a challenge for me. It really was. A part of that was just anxiety because I had been so isolated for so long. And I also have a phobia of high buildings, like really tall buildings. And so I've really had to challenge that. I am like getting better with that because I have to go into like the 15th floor of a very tall building every week. I have to do that. So I still get a lot of anxiety on the days that I have to go in. I still rely on my anxiety med for those days, which you do what you gotta do, and it helps. But yeah, those first like 4 days were such a struggle because it's like I really need to be paying attention to what my instructors are saying. You're getting so much information that first week just about the job in general and like, you know, how things are gonna go. So I'm like trying to focus, but my brain is also trying to convince me that like all of these intrusive thoughts are true and like I could do a whole video on intrusive thoughts that I have. And I'm in therapy still, though I have cut back since starting this job because I'm just so busy now and it's exhausting. And I also feel like I don't really get anywhere in therapy. I like get to a point where the appointments just start to feel like the exact same every single week. And so I feel like I'm no longer getting anything new. And then I stopped doing therapy for a while. And then I feel like I need to go back and I don't know. I do think therapy is good though. I have learned a lot in therapy, but I also think that there's something different with my brain. Yeah, so anyway, skipping over that. Those first 4 days were such a challenge because I was having to fight off a constant panic attack caused by the most insane, intrusive thoughts. And it was so interesting because one of the women in my group, she was very vocal about her anxiety. But the things she was anxious about were like legitimate. In my head, like she was anxious about when we were getting paid, how we were getting paid. She was anxious about the big licensing exam and what happened if we didn't pass the exam. And everything that she vocalized, I was like, yeah, like it's logical that she is anxious about that. Whereas me, the things that I'm anxious about in my head in that moment is that the building is gonna crash and that like I'm gonna start projectile vomiting and like that I'm gonna pass out, that I'm gonna have a seizure, or that like I'm gonna like my phone, like I'm gonna get a text that my dad has died. I should check my journal because I know I wrote down other ones. The big main one was that the building was going to come crashing down, like it was gonna collapse. But I got through it. And, you know, our group has kind of dwindled over the last couple of months. Some people didn't pass the exam. Oh, I kind of like, spoiler alert, I passed the exam. I actually scored pretty well on it considering there's probably more I want to say about that, but like maybe not right now. Just for my own sake. I mean, I've journaled about it. It's in my journal, but I like to have these things for myself to like review like at other points in time and like remember what I was thinking and feeling at that time. Because going off on another tangent, I recently went and looked through my journal from this time last year and I'm like, life is so much better this year than it was this time last year. Like everything has improved. So on one hand, it's like, you really don't know how much better your life can get. But then there's that other like anxious part of my brain that's like, you also don't know how much worse your life can get. But no, we're staying positive, we're staying hopeful. I can say that like I'm genuinely hopeful for the future. And I can't say that I have actually felt that way in a long time. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world outside of my own personal life, and it's devastating. But me being the selfish being that I am, my personal current life is the best that it's been in a long time. And I'm really grateful for that for me personally. So yeah, I've just been bopping along, doing my job, doing the training for my job, it's very intense. And there are times when I'm like, I feel so lost right now as far as like my job goes. I can't imagine like doing this job. But then I like look around and I'm like, no, if like other people can do this without a degree, I mean, I know we had to get licensed, but like, I don't know. I'm like, if other people can do it, I can do it. Like, I can do this. And the job itself has so many benefits. I haven't even talked about any of that. Like, this is the first time I've ever worked for like a big company, right? And there's a lot of negative you could say about working for a big company, but right now I'm focusing on the positive. And I've never worked for a place that had a long list of actual benefits for the employees. Like, yeah, I have to pay for a health insurance now, but I actually have like a choice in the matter, and I can actually see a medical doctor and not a what's it called? A physician, nurse practitioner, or a physician's assistant, which are the kind of, they are doctors. They're not PhD doctors, but you know what I mean. Those are who I've been seeing the last couple of years, except for like specialists. Like when I saw the neurologist, that was an MD, but like my PCP, I'm now able to, I haven't seen a new PCP yet, but next year when I want to, I'll be seeing an actual medical doctor. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I am now paying for health insurance, so that's a fun new thing. But benefits. For like the first time in my life, I have like paid time off. I have life leave, which is like paid time off for like doctor's appointments or having to take care of someone or whatever. I also get paid holidays, and not even just like the holiday itself, but days surrounding the holidays. Like the week of Thanksgiving, I had Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I've never had paid holidays. It's really cool. When I start my real like work shift after training, I get paid more on Saturdays. I do have to work Saturdays, but I get paid more, and the pay itself is higher than any job I've ever worked before, like by milestone. I'm still not making enough that I could like work on my own, especially because I am still working part-time, because I don't know how people work full-time. I don't know how people work 2 jobs. There's a woman in my training group who works a full-time job. She gets to work at 5 a.m., works until 1 p.m., and then starts our job at 2 p.m. and works until 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. She's very positive about it. She's like, this is just what I do. Like, she's an older woman who's had a lot of life, you know, but she doesn't believe in retiring because she's seen too many times that when people retire, their like mental capacity starts to go down. She's like, I'm not doing it. So she's staying very busy. But man, sometimes she just seems so tired. And I'm like, I'm so tired, and I'm only working 30 hours a week. And once I'm out of training, I'll be working even a little bit less than that, like one day. I'll still be working 5 days, but the hours are shorter, except for Saturdays, the hours are longer. I'm not looking forward to Saturday shifts, but we're gonna do it. It's gonna be fine. But yeah, just also the people I work with, like the group of people I'm with, feels like such a good group of people. Like we all want to see each other succeed, and like we help each other. And I've also like made friends in the sense that like we can talk like during breaks and stuff. I have made a friend that like kind of gets me in trouble sometimes when we are like in class, like in our training, because once a week we go in person, and we do have assigned seats, and if they should know better than to put us next to each other, because we cannot not talk to each other. No, but it's good. We know when to keep it together. I just realized that I skipped over, I think I started to talk about it and then I skipped over it. So during that break before my new job started, things were going good. And then like 2 weeks before the job started, I started getting really intense chest symptoms, like racing heart, the most insane chest tightness. pain. And like logically, I was like, Lizzie, it's anxiety. You know it's anxiety. Like, because I feel like I've remembered this happening before for some reason. I don't remember what the instance was, but I feel like that is an anxiety thing for me. But in the moment, it's so uncomfortable, and I don't have an anxiety medicine that I can take daily. I have it where it's like maybe once a week. You know, it's really for like emergencies. But when I would take it and my symptoms would decrease or whatever, I'd be like, okay, Lizzie, just remember, like, that it's anxiety. But then there would be times where I would take it and my symptoms wouldn't decrease. And so then I would be like, it's a heart thing. There's an issue with my heart, you know? So that went on for 2 weeks, and I like barely slept because it would be so uncomfortable that I physically couldn't sleep. It was really intense, but I got through that. And you know what's actually really interesting is that because there were a lot of things I was worried about leading up to starting the new job, aside from just starting the new job. One of the things is I'm really worried about getting COVID, because did you just see a fluffy thing flying in the air? I think it was fluffy, unless it was an orb, but it was probably fluff. Anyway, you know, I am very worried about COVID still, because I have had COVID one time and it was a horrible experience that lasted over 6 weeks. So I was worried. I was like, I'm gonna have to be in person with people for the first time in a long time, like aside from my family that I live with. I was just like, I'm so worried about. But around that time is when like the new COVID vaccine came out. And so I was like, as soon as I could, I went and got it. And it's so amazing, the brain, because I had been dealing with the most insane chest tightness and like, you know, racing heart and stuff. As soon as I got the new COVID vaccine, I like walked out of that and I felt so much lighter. It was just like just getting it, and like there's no guarantee that the vaccine is going to completely protect you or anything like that. We know that. In my head, I'm like, if it gives even a little bit of protection, whereas not getting it, you don't get that little bit of protection, I want it. I want that little bit of protection. If that's all it's gonna give me, I want it. And it was like enough to like trick my brain into being like, okay, we can chill out for a little bit because we're just that much more protected of COVID. I've also like was doing some research, and I've got like 2 different nasal sprays. Like one you spray before being subjected, you know, exposed to germs. And then there's also like a specific kind of mouthwash that you gargle when you're done being exposed, as well as another nasal spray that kind of neutralizes. I don't know. That's what they say. So I've been doing that every day that I have to go into the office. I've been doing that. And I will say so far so good. Oh, fingers crossed that keeps up. But it is really interesting because even though it's hard, going into the office is hard physically, just my body, it's hard on my body. I love it. I love it. I love interacting with my peers, my coworkers, my trainers. It's such a good environment. The socialization is so good for me. I'm grateful that I don't have to go into the office every day, like, especially because of the commute. I'm just like, I hate driving so much. I am glad that there is an aspect of having to go into the office. So it'll be interesting though, because once we're out of training, because right now when we're in office during training, we're like all in like a training room together, right? But once we're like out of training and just on the job, we're in a different building, and it's like not full cubes, not full cubicles, but like open cubicles. So it'll be a different vibe, but I'm getting ahead of myself because I still have, you know, another month or so of training, which I'm grateful for, because if I were to start working today, I feel like I would be lost. But it'll be okay. I just know that like someday, hopefully soon, everything's just gonna kind of click and fall into place with my training. That's what I'm hoping for. that's pretty much the update. I could just go on and talk more and more about work because that's been my life for since the second week or the third week of October. Yeah, I really have not been doing much else. It's been taking up a lot of my time, a lot of my focus, but I feel really, really good about it. And with this particular company, there is opportunity to grow with the company, and they really set you up for it because to get you thinking about it, because that first week when we were in office, every day there'd be like a new person coming in to talk to our group. And so often it was be like 3 years ago, I was sitting right where you are, and now I'm director of blah blah blah, or I'm on this other team doing this other thing. So they really want you to know that that's a possibility, but it's also just like I know what it is, you know. I'm not naive to that doesn't happen for everyone, but it is a possibility. So I've been kind of just on one hand trying to take it one day at a time, get through this training. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, maybe there's a career for me here. Maybe I have finally started to figure it out. Oh my God, I hate that everything is just like dependent on one's career, how much money a person can make. I've probably forgotten a lot, but that's the gist of the update. Physically, I feel like I'm back to my base, which is still dizzy every day, but manageable. Still dealing with my anxiety. I had an episode last night. I feel like I have a little bit of, I can't remember, it's like POTS. I don't technically have POTS. I've been tested many times by different doctors in different ways. I don't have POTS, but I do feel like my body does struggle similarly to POTS. Like I took a hot shower. I don't normally take hot showers, but I was so cold last night. I took a hot shower and was suddenly very like out of breath and feeling kind of weak. And so I like got out of the shower, got my pajamas, and went and laid down. And my heart was just like racing. And I was still feeling like kind of out of breath. Like if you have POTS, you know what I'm talking about. And I ended up just taking my anxiety med because I'm like, that'll at least help me relax. But I don't think the initial thing was an anxiety attack. I think the initial thing was my body struggling to regulate because I took a hot shower. You know what I mean? If you have POTS, you know what I'm talking about. Dizziness, anxiety, still dealing with all that. But overall, I'm still having some like, my PCB called it IBS. I don't know why I'm like anti-IBS. I don't know. I'm annoyed that's, the more I learn about it, I don't know. I'm still uneducated, but truly about it. But I feel like IBS is too much of like a catch-all. Like, oh, you're having symptoms, but we can't really determine what it is, so we're just gonna call it IBS. So yeah, I do occasionally have that like intestinal, just like right across my belly button, like intense pain, or like certain kind of pain like right in that area. But I don't know. I'll have random flare-ups and then I'll go like weeks maybe where I don't experience it at all. I don't know. Just putting it out there. I'm sure it's fine. You'll be seeing me again as long as I can get this edited without too much trouble. Because I really miss this and I have more to say, and I love YouTube. I love doing this. Even though like no one watches, I don't care. Like it's for me. I have fun with it. And I have more to say, I guess, but we'll see. Anyway, I hope you guys have been doing well. Whoever's watching, whoever made it this far, I hope that your year has improved the way that mine has in some way. You know, it'll be different, but... And if it hasn't, I don't know, maybe take the possibility that like where I was at the end of last year and where I am at the end of this year is completely different in a much better way. I got a new job. I've met so many new people, really awesome people. I'm making more money. I just feel overall with myself, like, yes, I've got this anxiety going, but like overall, I just feel like a different person, and I feel more sure of myself. I don't know. Again, a topic for another time, but yeah. Be safe, be well. I hope you find ways to enjoy your life, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys!